That's right. It's the Average Joe's back again. I'm your host, Ali, and my main man on the mic, Dave Sumtonio Allen. How's it going this evening, Dave?
Hey man, I'm doing good. It's doing good, man.
Now you have to tell the people who've been listening, and for the people who actually haven't been listening, especially, start from the beginning. We used to call you No Tonio. No Tonio Allen.
Yeah.
Now you're some Tonio Allen. Please tell the people what happened.
Oh man, so over the over the weekend, I was going against probably the guy that's got the best team in our league. I wanted to add another receiver. I really didn't want to go get Antonio.
But why
But
not?
for
The
those
people
of
who
them,
that don't know.
oh, okay. Let
Yeah,
me start from. Okay, I got you. So I'm a firm believer in the Madden curse.
Madden
All
curse
right,
people.
for all you out there. So whoever, to break it down even more, whoever is on the front cover of Madden, I refuse to put them on my team. Um, because of the fact, usually with the Madden curse, people on the front cover either get hurt or they have a down year the next year. So we had a big old ordeal about, I said I wasn't going to draft Antonio Brown, didn't want to touch him, none of my teams, didn't matter what round. And now we are in week 4, and I have traded for him. I actually ended up trading Leonard Fournette,
Oh, good trade.
Quincy Enunwa. I traded Fournette, Quincy Enunwa, and Tyler Boyd to get
Ooh,
AB.
okay. Yeah. I think that's a solid trade. Boyd has been on fire, though. As a matter
Yeah,
of
he
fact,
has been.
we're going to talk about him in a little bit. Fournette, we're going to talk about him too. Yeah, I mean, I guess that's pretty fair. But yeah, we had a big ordeal about Antonio Brown. He's come around, so now he's some Antonio Allen. If you haven't heard the whole ordeal, go back, check the first couple of episodes here, and you'll get to hear how he advised people not to draft Antonio Brown because of the Madden curse. So we'll move on past that and let him off the hook. Now, but we all do things he didn't think we would do, though. I have Jordy Nelson on one of my teams. He was one of my ADP zeros, somebody I wouldn't draft, but I got him off waivers for free, basically, and he actually came through last week, got me 17 points. Matter of fact, I think he got me 17 points against you. So help me win my week. I think I'm up by.
You wouldn't have needed him.
Yeah,
You wouldn't
yeah, I'm up by 50. I think you got Emmanuel Sanders going, so I think I'm pretty safe.
have. Oh man, we just got to put people's business out there. Okay, that's
Yeah,
cool.
yeah. I
Great.
mean, hey, it's for the people. It's on public record. We're just having a little fun, and I mean, you gotta let it out there. But you'll get your time to come back at me as well. I'm certain we'll have a lot of fun with that. But first off, I want to thank everybody for coming back and listening again. We've had a overwhelming show of support. YouTube can't quite get their numbers right. One day we have 900 views. The next time it's over 2,000. Whatever it is, we appreciate everyone who has come back to support us. Again, please just take a second, like the video. Please subscribe. We definitely want you guys to get the content and continue to come back and comment. Speaking of, real quickly, we're going to allow Dave here. He's going to give us a question of the week, and then we'll talk about a few more things. Last week, I believe, Dave, you were asking about the 3 running backs that have less rushing yards than the quarterbacks. This week, it'll be a little something different. And again, people out there that's listening, we're going to start having these contests. Whoever answers the question first will be eligible to receive some of our free giveaways. Honestly, we don't have anything right now, but we are putting those things in place. So please continue to come back and answer those questions. So, Dave, go ahead and give us the question of the week.
Yeah, this question is going to be called Name This Receiver. So in PPR scoring, I'm top 3 in yards, receptions, and fantasy points. So name that receiver in PPR. I am top 3 in yards, receptions, and fantasy points, all 3 categories. Let's name that receiver.
Excellent. All right, go ahead and put that in comments for us. And again, we'll give you a kudos for being the first person with the right answer. But outside of our little game here, Dave, how is your week going?
I have a lot. I have a lot of games that are gonna depend on tonight. I've so many other than ours because that's decided. But I've got a bunch where either I got somebody playing, they got somebody playing, we both have somebody playing.
Right.
I will say this: I'm going up against a lot of Patrick Mahomes, Travis Kelce stats. So we will see.
Yeah, that could thing. I'm going up against Kelce a couple of leagues of mine as well, but I do believe I'm far enough ahead where I'm not too worried about Kelce. I think I'm up by 70 points, close to one of my leagues, and he has Kelce and maybe Sanders going tonight, I believe. I'm not quite sure, but I feel pretty good about that. Yeah, my week is okay. Looks like I'm going 2-2 in the leagues that I care about. I may actually win in one of the leagues I don't care about as well, which doesn't hurt. In one of my teams that I'm losing with this particular week, I really had a solid week, really good week. Wasn't disappointed at all by the output. I just kind of ran up against the guy who had James White and Zeke, so he crushed it.
Yeah.
But Fournette, who we're going to talk about, is just killing me. We'll get to him in a minute. And I also have Hogan and and Goodwin. Fournette, Hogan, and Goodwin on one squad.
Oh my.
Yeah, that's a tough go. So we're gonna have to make some moves. Let's make some moves there. But anyhow, real quickly tonight, guys, we have a great show for you, jam-packed. We obviously have Monday Night Football getting ready to come on, so we're gonna try to keep this under an hour for you guys. A little bit of Le'Veon news. We're gonna do regrets. First third of the year regrets. So the third of the fantasy football season is regular season anyhow is basically over. So we're going to talk about our first third regrets. We'll probably come back with regrets in another few weeks and do midway or whatnot. We'll talk about a few of the games tonight. We're going to do a new segment called it's not new, but I don't think we did it quite the way we wanted to do it last time. Pat or panic. Is it time to stand pat on some players, or is it time to panic and let them go or sit them on the bench? And then if we have time, if time permits, we'll go ahead and do a quick waiver wire segment. So let's go ahead and jump right in and talk about our regrets. I have quite a few. I don't think I have time. I can just do this by myself with regrets, but for the sake of time, I'll limit it to 3 apiece. You go ahead and start off with yours. What's your first one, Dave?
Yeah, my big guy, when I was going through this yesterday, I'm kind of in the same boat as you as far as I could go through my regrets, the whole time. But drafting Larry Fitzgerald in the top 4 rounds has been a huge regret for me. I mean, the production that I was expecting and hoping to get just with catches alone haven't been there. The Cardinals' offense just doesn't look good. Fitz is dealing with injuries week after week. I actually went back and looked. I drafted him like round 3 in one of my drafts, and I could have taken. I think Thielen was there. Robinson was. Other people that I definitely could have taken. But yeah, it's just. I think. We'll get into this later in our other segment, but the biggest regret is just the offense. The offense has got to step it up. Really, is the situation for him there.
Right. Yeah. I mean, Fitz is one of those people that I have for the last couple of years stayed away from. Not so much last year, but so far this year, I think it's kind of showing that the sunset is coming for him here. He's at the end of his time in the NFL, been a great player. And I'm not saying that he doesn't have more juice in the tank. The offense in Arizona has been pretty horrific. Do you think that, with the new quarterback there, that you're going to get a little extra pop out of Fitz? What did you see during the game when they made the switch?
The only thing I saw is exactly what I thought I was going to see, and that Christian Kirk is just going to get better as the season goes on, and him and Rosen click. I think that's Rosen's guy. And David Johnson looked better. Of course, they got
Yeah.
to run the ball a lot more because Seattle's not the same Seattle they used to be. But
Right.
regardless, I think with that change, I don't really think it
You don't do
yet.
too much
It hasn't really affected Larry yet.
Okay.
I mean, he's got 24 targets over 4 games, which isn't awful, but it's
No.
not what I would want out of my third-round receiver.
Yeah, you're used to him getting 24 targets a game, 11, 10,
Right.
11 receptions, So, yeah,
Absolutely.
he was one of those people that I kind of just avoided, even though, he's been a target monster, a reception monster in a lot of these seasons. I just said at some point in time, Father Time catches up with him, and possibly this could be the year for Fitz. So, and with a flandering offense, he may just hang up the cleats anyway. I hope he doesn't retire at halftime. That would be good if he doesn't.
I think he's a little more respectful than that.
Yeah, I don't think he's that kind of a guy. But good deal. My first regret again, and if we had the production to do it and the slow music and all the rest of that great stuff, I would do an apology at the same time. But Alvin Kamara, the guy is simply a beast. He is a top 5 draft pick, assuming he doesn't have any kind of injury or whatnot next year, and he should have been this year. There was a lot of back and forth on Kamara. Nobody quite knew what to do with him. I wanted all traditional running backs over him. And honestly, in my drafts, I didn't really get a chance to draft him. I wasn't in a position where it was like, okay, Kamara or someone else. I always drafted too late. And the only time in one of my drafts where I drafted early enough to pick him, I drafted second overall and got Gurley. So I'll take Gurley all day. I don't have any problem with that.
Yeah.
But just doubting this man, look, Kamara, you're awesome, and if I have an opportunity to draft you next year, you will be on my team. I regret doubting him. That's it. That's the regret.
I'm actually kind of in that same boat. I am regretting, I guess kind of haven't let, not you personally, but I kind of let a couple people change my mind as I was going through, because Kamara at first when we were drafting, I said, I got to take that guy no matter what. And then I started listening to different people talk and all about this regression and stuff. And it's, as much as I don't want to admit it, it's hard to stand firm on certain people, on certain players after hearing so many.
Because it makes sense. He has to regress. Yeah. And possibly he has a little bit, but the volume is there to where it doesn't matter. And he's not a 3-down back by any means, but he functions just fine in his role. And yeah, Kamara, you're the man. So I'll go ahead and put the apology out there as well. So what's your number 2 regret?
Yeah, my next regret is starting Dalvin Cook Thursday.
Yeah, told you not to do that.
Yeah,
you were on the show. We said don't do it.
You said it, and I was in a position where, and I actually, I was in a position where I was like,
you said not to do it.
I felt like I had to, but I didn't have to. I had Aaron Jones sitting on my bench, but I didn't start him.
That makes sense.
And if you watch the game Thursday, I think you understand why that was my regret. If you didn't watch it and you've seen any kind of fantasy football related reports, then you also understand why a whopping 2 points out of Dalvin, and he was a ghost in the second half. Not even a catch.
Yeah, you got to figure he's going to be on a pitch count, and on top of that, you're going up against that Rams D. They may have had a couple people out in the secondary, but that front four is nothing to play with, man. You said not to start him. How did you? You tricked yourself again.
I told. And look, the crazy thing, as we were doing the show, I was taking him out. Well, he was actually already out because, they make it to a game time decision. And so they announced it while we were doing the show. And we got off, and it's about to kick off, and I'm sitting there like, if Dalvin does anything remotely good and he's on my bench, I'm going to regret this. I shouldn't play him because he's hurting, and this is the Rams, but I'm going to throw him in there. He can't do any worse than Aaron Jones. And he did. He did. He didn't do anything, actually. So
yeah, and I mean, a lot of people had Aaron. I have Aaron Jones on 2 of my teams, him and Jamal Williams. So my contention was in the draft, if you're going to draft Jamal Williams or Aaron Jones, you better draft the other. So I've taken up
right.
two bench spots with Green Bay backfield, and I didn't play Jones because you had to see what that split was going to be like. I quite honestly thought it was going to take a little bit longer for Jones to kind of work his way in, but he looked so great. How do they keep him off? They can't keep him off the field. They have to put this man on the field because he's a dynamic playmaker. Yeah, he'll be in my lineups this upcoming week. I'm sorry about Cook, man. We said not to put him in there, but if you had choice between Cook and Jones, I probably would have gone Cook as well because you just didn't know about Jones. Just didn't know.
Right.
So I don't fault you too much there. All right, my second one is not trading for Corey Davis a week ago. Now, the trade was not in place. I didn't put the offer out there, but it was in my mind in one particular league to offer Alfred Morris and possibly Hogan or Goodwin for Corey Davis. And I'm not sure if it would have gone through. It still may have been rejected, but the experts were of the opinion you could go out there and get Corey Davis for a bag of marbles at that point in time.
Right.
And he just had a coming out party, and we'll talk about him a little bit more later on as well. He's in one of our segments. But it looks like I'm not sure if it's going to continue on, but just for that one game alone, he'd probably been worth Alfred Morris and Chris Hogan. So, I regret not going after him when I had the inclination to do so.
Oh yeah, no, that Corey Davis is gonna ball out, especially with the news of Rashard Matthews leaving, and this is just gonna be Corey Davis's receiving course. So I can definitely understand the regrets there. And if anybody's smart, they will hold on to him or sell him high now. So or not now, but if somebody were to offer for Corey Davis, then his stock is a lot higher than it would have been. So I definitely understand. I definitely understand the regrets there.
Absolutely. Who else do you have?
Well, I actually regret trading for Leonard Fournette in a league. It's actually the same league that I just traded him away, so my regret's not as bad anymore.
Right.
But I traded Deion Lewis, Julian Edelman, and Kerryon Johnson for Fournette.
That's biting you.
Yeah, it is.
I don't mean to, but it's biting.
Being able to get him off my team or flip him into Antonio Brown makes it better for me at this point. But if I could go back, I would not have done that trade.
Well, how's your depth? Because you traded a few pieces to get him, then you had to package him with a few pieces to get Antonio Brown. How are you on your depth there?
Well, I've actually been able to get to the waivers before a lot of people. And I'll just really quickly read through my team. So starting, I've got Roethlisberger, Dalvin Cook, Jordan Howard, DeAndre Hopkins, Adam Thielen, Jimmy Graham, Antonio Brown, Bears defense.
Okay.
And then my bench, though, I've got Trey Burton, Keelan Cole, Chris Godwin, John Brown, Mike Williams. So the bench, Aaron Jones. The depth isn't terrible there. It's one of those teams where it's like, if I'm not going to start my star, or if I have somebody on the bench that I think has a good matchup, like what star am I really going to take out for that player? So it comes with a lot of hard decisions. But I regret even trading for Fournette in the first place.
Yeah, we're going to talk about him too. He's somebody we got to talk about. All right, excellent. Well, those are the regrets. I'm sure we have plenty more we can go through, but for the sake of time, let's move on to a few of the games. We're not going to go over all the games from last week, but just some of the really ones, some of the good ones that stood out. They had some good storylines we want to go ahead and chit-chat about. Let's start off with the Bengals and the Falcons. Points galore.
Yeah, all over the place. Another one we called and told you guys to start everybody.
Yeah, everything you got there. Go ahead and start. Ryan looked great. Julio was on the sideline. Even though he got 9 catches and 173 yards receiving, great game. He's on the sideline begging really for a touchdown. He's like in his full Dave Chappelle, Tyrone Bigum's. Hey, you got enough touchdowns? He can't catch touchdowns for his life, and really is soaking them all up. And really like, nah, man, I got to keep him, bro. I got to keep him.
I got you next time. Let me get this one.
Next time I get 3, I'll let you have one. Oh my God! And you know, at the beginning of the season, I've been the biggest Julio protector. I've been the one that's just been hyping him up, advocate for Julio. And you know, I thought that he would regress, you know, do that positive regression and have a much better season with touchdowns. And he's just allergic to them. I think the idea behind it is Julio does not want to catch touchdowns. Once he gets to about that 10-yard line, he's like, nah, I'm taking this play off. If I catch a touchdown, people are going to start expecting that from me, and I don't want those expectations.
He's just got look. I'm way bigger than these guys. This touchdown stuff has gotten easy. I want to try to get 150 yards every game. That's my new goal.
So yesterday, that's old stuff. All I want is yardage. I'm going for that record. I don't know what's going on. He and Alex Collins are going to be the ultimate between the 20s, because you know Alex Collins is never touching the ball on the goal line again. I know we're on a different game now, but that just broke I was sitting there like, oh, my hand is in my head. I'm like, oh my God, he just fumbled on the one. Because they were giving Buck Allen, the goal line work. And he's not really a goal line back, but he was getting the goal line work for the first 3 games. And I think they said, you know what? Alex has been solid. He's looking good. Hasn't had a lot of fumbles. Let's give him a shot. First shot. So, yeah, in between the 20s for Alex and in between the 20s for Julio. But neither here nor there, still had a great game. You really came through with a couple of touchdowns for you. Great game. On the other side of the ball, Tyler Boyd, I think he's juicing. Look, that's just my opinion. I have no facts. I have no sources. But he came out of obscurity. Ride this man while he was on the juice. Get him. Put him in your lineup. He's shooting it up, man. I'm kidding, Tyler. I'm sure you're not. But while he's doing it, guys, go ahead and put him in your lineup.
Yeah. Hey, get it before. Look, we caught him before the league did. So
right.
Go ahead.
You heard it here, folks. You heard it here. We broke the news 9 months early. He's going to have that Julian Edelman suspension here next year.
Yeah, man. Tyler Boyd looks fantastic.
So
it actually, it reminds me of the same thing that's going on in Pittsburgh with Juju and Antonio Brown. It's like Juju's getting all these targets, Boyd's getting all and they're making the most out of them. I mean, I think Boyd may have more. I'm not sure, so I'm not gonna say that. But either way, they're both. You know, Tyler Boyd's looking fantastic, and I don't want to discredit Andy Dalton either. I mean, Andy Dalton's looking really good this year. Yeah, he looks fantastic. Mohamed Sanu came back into reality this game and showed that, you know, I'm still here, I can still play.
Right.
So the weapons and just to foreshadow, the Falcons and Steelers are playing next week, which I'm sure, you know, we'll get.
Oh yeah, you got to get everybody going in that game too. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, that's a must play.
This Falcons defense might turn into if you have a competent offense going against the Falcons and just play everybody. I mean, it might just be what it turns, because there's going to be a shootout. But neither here nor there. Yeah, the game was great. It was fun to watch, regardless of fantasy implications. It was a great game to watch, and yeah, Matt Ryan's looking great. The receivers are looking great. I know Dan Quinn is optimistic about hopefully getting Devontae Freeman back this Sunday. As far as fantasy goes, I think I have him on one team,
right?
And I don't think I'm going to necessarily start him just yet, especially since I just dealt with the Dalvin Cook situation coming off of an injury.
The situation,
so, right, yeah, so I might take a week, but Yeah,
Yeah, a lot of these
that was great.
offenses are showing, and of course we're getting into the age where there's less defense, it's kind of being legislated out of the game a little bit, some of the hits and this and that and the third, but these offenses are either just getting to the point where, there can be 2,000-yard receivers. You have it going there in Minnesota. Looks like you're going to have it going
Yeah,
there in Atlanta. Looks like you're going to have it going there in Cincinnati.
yeah.
You just may have 2,000-yard receivers on some teams. I think last year, I believe, um, the Lions got close to it with Tate and Jones. I
And
believe they
Jones,
both had
yeah.
1,000-yard seasons. Then also in Denver for a few years there, you had Sanders and DT going for 1,000. So, yeah, man, these fire them up right now. Tyler Boyd's on pace for 1,200 yards. He has 2 touchdowns so far. Gio Bernard had a good game, 2 touchdowns himself, looking really good. I actually dropped in one of my leagues, the very very short bench. I dropped Chris Carson for Gio Bernard.
Wow, what a play! What a play!
Yeah, it was again the first couple of weeks they weren't running the ball much, and then week 2, he and Penny split down the line. They both carried the ball like
Yeah,
7 or 8 times. I thought, hey, Penny's getting ready to take over. I don't need Carson anymore. I can go out there and get Gio and slot him into my lineup. And suffice it to say, after Mixon comes back, I'm going to be a little short on running backs because this is also another team. I have Fournette everywhere. I have Fournette on, and I'm just hoping that Mixon does the full 4 weeks. It gives me a couple more weeks with Bernard because I'm definitely going to need it. But yeah, he looked good. He can shoulder the load. I mean, I liked everybody there, and I'm going to continue to roll with the Bengals. Man, they have a few good matchups coming up here. I actually picked Andy Dalton up off the waiver wire in one of my leagues. He has some good matchups. I think you can roll him for the next 5 to 6 weeks. I do want to say, somber little portion here. Tyler Eifert. I had no
yeah,
faith that he was
yeah.
going to come back and be healthy. I thought first hit of the game he was going out with a soft tissue injury, but he had been looking good, like he was getting ready to rebound, and obviously he had that gruesome injury. So just our hearts go out to him, and hopefully
Definitely.
he's able to come back next season and rehabs well. So yeah, Bengals and the Falcons. That was a good one. Roll your Bengals, roll your Falcons. Falcons and Steelers. We'll talk about that probably coming up here soon, but you want to roll that game out too. All right, good deal. Let's go ahead and talk real quickly about the Bears and the Bucks. Not quite as exciting as Bengals Falcons if you're a Bucks fan.
No, not at all. Not at all. Unless you're a Jameis fan, you got to see him come
Yeah,
back in.
yeah.
But no, that game,
It's out of control.
I don't know if he ran out of magic or if he just ran into Mac. I don't know what that was. That was, and it's almost like he transferred his magic to Trubisky
Yeah,
because Trubisky was out of control.
6 touchdowns. How does that happen? He goes from
and he
shouldn't be in the lineup possibly to 6 touchdowns, and Tariq Cohen balled out. He played so good he kept Jordan Howard off the field in a blowout. How does that happen?
yeah, and that was one thing that I was excited for on the same team that Dalvin Cook got me 2 points, Jordan Howard got me 2.4 or something. And I'm sitting here wondering, this game is basically over.
Right.
So why does he have 20 yards? And no, I don't think he had any catches.
No.
None. Yeah, and 1 target.
Yeah.
Yeah, Tariq Cohen took over. Taylor Gabriel came out and showed, that he's still a baller. He kind of fit that role of that he did in Atlanta. Now that Anthony Miller is hurt, I think that they're giving that kind of role to Taylor Gabriel right now, and he played fantastic.
Do you have any news on how long Miller's going to be out? I haven't seen anything on that.
I do not know. I actually found out about Miller being out right before the game, but here I can look it up real quick if you want to talk about the Buccaneers side of it.
It was if I'm not mistaken, it was a shoulder. It was a dislocated shoulder or something like that. I mean, I know he had when he got in the game prior, he went down twice with that same injury to that same shoulder, after falling on it. So I'm not sure how serious it is, but yeah, if he's going to be out for several weeks, you may want to fire up Tyler Gabriel there for a few games. Um, Burton got in the end zone, and yeah, we got to also see on the other side of the ball the Buccaneers put Jameis Winston in, which I was really happy about because I got him as a backup on one of my leagues. I actually did that obviously strategically just in case something happened with Jimmy G or he wasn't quite as good, and obviously something did happen, and now Jameis comes in and probably will perform like a top 10 quarterback. Now he's going to have his frustrations, just like you've seen on Sunday. He threw two interceptions. I think one of them wasn't quite his fault, but neither here nor there. He's kind of that Brett Favre. You got to take the good with the bad. He'll get you 350 yards passing and a few touchdowns, but he's going to throw the errant pass every now and again, the unwarranted pass every now and again. But I would still be willing to roll Jameis in a lot of situations here. So be on the lookout for him in most of in some of your leagues. I think he's still like 8% owned because of the suspension. So if he's on your waiver wire, he's a potential top ten quarterback. Go ahead and get him. And yeah, looks like the magic train is over. I think they made the executive decision there in Tampa Bay that even though Fitz looked great through the first few weeks or whatever, Jameis Winston, if he can stay out of trouble, is the future of the franchise. He's the quarterback going forward for them, and it's better to get him mixed in and get him reps now and get him ready for the playoffs now, so when they make the playoffs, than for him to wait another 2 or 3 weeks and then make the switch. So they probably decided to go ahead and just do that early, which is good.
Yeah, it looks like that they've had it in the plans to bring Jameis back as soon as possible anyway, because I heard something today that the reason Ronald Jones hasn't been playing is because they've been having him practice with Jameis to kind of get up to speed, and hopefully they could play together. And that, I just kind of seems like they kind of had behind-the-scenes plans that Jameis is getting back out there as soon as Fitzpatrick messes up. Yeah, I was going to ask you, does that excite you at all that he was active this game?
Absolutely not. I don't think their running game is going to be anything special. Ronald Jones had I haven't gone back and checked the numbers, but from what I've seen in my personal time of paying attention to sports stats, he had a historically awful preseason. Like, there was no flash of anything. You're talking like 10 carries and 5 yards kind of stuff. It was bad. And no, I don't think they held him out just to come back and play with Jameis. That doesn't make any sense whatsoever. You're still wanting to get to the playoffs. If he's your best running back and Fitzpatrick was playing lights out the way he was playing lights out, you put your best players out there to go win the game. Like, Tony, we play to win the game. I'm not holding back my best player waiting for my quarterback to get off suspension. Doesn't make any sense. So, no, I'm not excited about him at all. You may want to stash him, especially Dynasty, just to see what happens or see what happens here in a couple of games. He did get 10 carries. But excited? No. I'm more excited for Cameron Brate. He is
definitely.
He's Winston's boy.
Yeah, and with that O.J. Howard injury, that singles it up for Brate.
Absolutely.
And like you said, Jameis loves him.
Absolutely. All right, let's go ahead and move on to the next game. Well, there's a little nugget for you. If Cameron Brate is on your waiver wire, go ahead and pick him up. I know last year I don't even have the touchdowns he caught, but I just remember seeing it happen at least once a game just about. So go ahead and get Cameron Brate off of waivers. Let's go ahead and talk about quickly the Eagles and the Titans. Yeah, I know it's take it home for you. I'm sorry, but the reason we had to talk about this game is because the Titans suck, but they keep winning. They're hard. Until this week here, their offense was subpar at best, if you want to call it subpar. I know that Mariota's kind of been hurt a little bit, but the running game's no good. The passing game's been blah, but they keep pulling out these games. Eagles are your account, man. What happened?
Oh man, our defense has not lived up to
No,
what it usually is.
it hasn't.
And we've been good. Well, I won't even say that because that's kind of incorrect as well. Starting off the year against the Falcons, which was a crazy game anyway, so I won't even include that. But we were doing all right as far as not giving up points. We just given up a whole bunch of yardage, which we did again to this game. And it's just our secondary. I don't know what they necessarily have to fix because it's not like we're getting beaten, man. The zones are just so wide open in the secondary, and I mean receivers are just running free downfield. They're just doing whatever they want to do. And this game especially, our offensive line looked awful. The offensive line looked terrible. And Carson Wentz was still able to have a good game, and just by if you watch the game and then look at his stats, the fact that he was still able to do that with how the offensive line played, I don't know if I should credit the Titans D-line or discredit our offensive line, but either way, overtime was crazy too. We had that penalty on fourth down, that pass interference. We had a 4th and 15 that we gave up. Granted, it was a safety trying to play the corner position, but I mean, dude, you had like one side, you had half of a side of the field to guard. Like,
right.
I don't understand. So, but Corey Davis looked really good.
Yeah,
he played well. Alshon Jeffrey came back and played fantastic. Zach Ertz looked amazing. Yeah, I just hate that we got an L there. That sucks.
Yeah. It was a tough game. Titans seem to have the magic. They maybe Fitz magic for the Titans. I don't know, but they seem to be able to pull these games out. But on the positive note, Alshon came back off injury, had a really good game. I am an Alshon hater. He's probably another one of my ADP zeros. I just don't quite like him, but he certainly showed up this game. Ertz continues to show that he's probably one of the maybe number 2, maybe number 1 receiving tight end in the league. I drafted him in one of my leagues, my dynasty league, so I'm really glad that I have him. But he's looking great for you guys. Now we got some news here though, that the Eagles may be the front runners for Le'Veon Bell, possibly in a trade this season. Now, here's my issue with Le'Veon. As I understand it, he has to play under the franchise tag regardless whether he's under a trade or not. His whole point of sitting out is to preserve himself for next season. He does not want to get hurt and miss his big guaranteed contract. Even if he gets traded, my contention is the new team gives up a lot and then still inherits the headache of Le'Veon Bell possibly holding out as long as he possibly can and then coming back and finding a way to be active but not actually play. I mean, what is the point of missing $1 million a game? I know I'm rounding up, but missing $1 million a game just to come back and get hurt week 11. No, you plan to sit out the whole year. Sit out the whole year. So,
absolutely, yeah.
What are you hearing from the Eagles on that front?
It is aggressive. Howie Roseman is one of those magical owners that goes after any big name player that's out there and is going to try to make something happen to get them.
I do want him. Of course you want Le'Veon, but do you want to take the chance of giving up 2 first-round picks or some kind of a valuable piece in a first-round pick just to pick up Le'Veon and deal with it? And now sources are saying that he's planning on coming back after the bye, but in what capacity? Is he coming back to really ball out and play? I mean, what sense does it make on his end to do that?
Yeah. The whole situation is kind of weird now because I actually thought especially watching what happened to Earl Thomas yesterday and him giving, the Seahawks the middle finger and all that stuff. I basically thought that was more fuel for Le'Veon to say, this is exactly why I'm not going to play without getting paid. But now he's deciding, I'm going to go ahead and come back week 7. And like you said, does that mean he's going to come back and play? Does that mean he's going to come back so he can get paid? Yeah. As a fan, yes, I would love to see Le'Veon suit up. I wish we could have a guarantee that we could keep him. The Eagles personally would have to move quite a bit of stuff. I know there were rumors about possibly trading Nick Foles and moving something else around.
But then, like you said, you just mentioned it. That's the other piece of it. There's no guarantee at the end of the year he even signs with whoever he trades with. I can't see a team going for that. I mean, having a deal in place is the equivalent of a handshake, and hoping he honors his deal at the end of the season. Says, okay, I'll sign with you. When some other team comes around and says, you know what, we'll offer you, $50 million more guaranteed.
Right.
Who wants to deal with that? I couldn't possibly see that happen, but I know that the Eagles are one of the front runners. I wanted to see what you thought about that. I don't think he's going to go anywhere, and if he comes back week 7 and plays full out, balls to the wall, so to speak, excuse that vernacular, but the expression, I'm sorry. But if he comes back and just plays all out, I don't understand the reason of sitting out anyway. He may as well have been here the whole season. So we'll see how that one unfolds. We would all love to see Le'Veon on the field. I'm probably a little more skeptical now because I just traded him for David Johnson. So I want my decision to be correct. So I'm a little biased, but at the same time, it makes sense. What I'm saying, it totally makes sense. It doesn't make sense for him to come back and play and risk injury again, like you just mentioned. Earl Thomas is a prime example. But yeah, and I'm actually pretty happy with my trade at this point in time. David Johnson came back this week and gave me 19 fantasy points. And I think with Rosen back there, it's going to open things up just a little bit. I don't think we're going to have an amazing season, but we should still get 1,000 yards out of David Johnson this year, and hopefully they do some things to improve that offensive line over the off season. Anyhow, all right, well, good. That's the week 4 review. We'll move on. We're running at about 45 minutes now. We'll go ahead and talk about the Pat or Panic segment again. This is players that we are either going to stand pat on, keep starting, or panic, and that means either relegate them to the bench or possibly even drop them. I'll go ahead and start this off. My first pat or panic player here is LaShawn McCoy. Hurt, horrible offense. If you think the Cardinals' offense is horrible, wait till you check out the Buffalo Bills. I mean, it's really bad. At one point during the game last week, they had 18 yards passing.
Oh my God.
How do you run an offense like that? I know you have him on one of your teams. Are you still starting this guy, or are you putting him on your bench?
If I didn't have to start him, I wouldn't, and trust me. I don't like that I have to, but it's him or Frank Gore for me on this team. But I'm all the way with you on panicking with LaShawn McCoy. Yeah, if I didn't have to, I wouldn't by any means.
Okay, so it's time to panic with McCoy. I don't know if you can exactly drop him. He's just not a name you can't drop. You can't drop him.
Right.
But yeah, if you have better options, I think it's time to stop looking at what he's done in the past and what potential he has. Until he starts producing, he needs to be on your bench. Who's your first guy, Dave?
Yeah, my first guy we already kind of talked about, so I'll fly through him and get to the second guy. My first panic is Larry Fitzgerald, and we basically, like we said, we talked about him earlier in the show, and he's just not been producing and stuff. Definitely, like you said with McCoy, it's not a guy you can just drop,
right?
Because as soon as you drop him, they start making you feel really bad about it. So
has his first 200-yard game in a couple years.
yeah, exactly. And you'll just be sad. So yeah, definitely a guy that I'm gonna have to start just benching until he shows me otherwise. But yeah, my other guy is Robbie Anderson with the Jets.
Yeah.
I think him and Josh McCown were a match made in heaven.
Drop. Go ahead, drop.
yeah. I think he made Josh McCown look good. Josh McCown made him look good. And now that Sam Darnold is here, it's just he's not the same.
It's a new one show now. Yeah, Robbie Anderson is not nowhere. And I liked him a lot. Last year he helped me. One of my leagues, I guess you can call it a regular season championship, so to speak. I went 11-2, and he was one of my main waiver wire pickups. And yeah, once or twice a game, it was McCown was like, "Hey, Robbie, go get this," and he would throw it 50 yards, and they would make a connection, man. And yeah, they had a good connection last year. Unfortunately, it does not have the same one with Darnold. It is now the Enunwa show, and that even isn't all that awesome. It's like, hey, do you need 9 points in your flex? Yeah, okay, put a new one in. It's not like he's balling out. So it's time to drop. I wouldn't even sit him on. I mean, if you have a deep bench, go ahead. But if you have a short bench, go ahead and drop him. All right, my second guy is hurting me a lot, and I'm going to ask you. I'm going to ask you because I have an idea. But Chris Hogan, he came out, was shooting up the draft boards during the draft. A lot of people probably have a hard time dropping this guy because you had to pick him up. By the end of the draft season, you were having to draft him fourth roundish. And he's probably what you're expecting him to be a solid wide receiver too. By no means were we expecting what we've seen. Panic or stand pat with Hogan?
I'm panicked. I'm hitting the panic button with Hogan personally. Yeah.
Okay. I'm standing pat because what we haven't seen just yet is them have a good underneath game. They have no one's been able to take Edelman's place. Now they've kind of been, so to speak, replacing him with James White catching the ball out of the backfield, but that's not the same thing as a slot receiver. A lot of people kind of thought and speculated that possibly Burkhead would fill a lot of the slot role while Edelman was out, kind of switch back and forth between slot and running back, but Edelman's been out and hurt. This offense has just been decimated with injuries and everything else, and it hasn't been quite the same offense. And they came back around a little bit this week, had a pretty decent looking week, but Hogan wasn't involved. He had one catch for like 25 yards. I'm going to stay pat, though, because they have Gordon, who's going to be able to stretch the field for them a little bit. They have Edelman coming back, and possibly now, I don't know if Hogan's been double-teamed as the number one receiver. A lot of times they put that on Gronk, but if all you have is Gronk and Hogan, you can kind of work that out in your scheme. I'm hoping that things open back up for him once they get some more weapons on the field. So I'm giving this a time. I'm giving this a time frame. I'm staying pat on him for 3 more weeks with Edelman in the lineup. Okay. Edelman's off suspension, and now they're going to continue to incorporate Gordon a little bit more. I think he had maybe 2 catches last game, and incorporate him a little bit more. I want to see if things open up a little bit more now that they have weapons, kind of like you're seeing in Atlanta when, hey, we just have too much on the field for you to guard. Someone's going to be open. And I'm hoping that happens for Hogan. So I'm going to stay pat on him, but I can definitely understand the inclination at this point in time and the nudging to go ahead and just put this guy. He was on my bench, squarely on my bench this week. Thank goodness I didn't chase the points he had gotten before. He hasn't had completely horrible games. He did have one game where he got 2 touchdowns, but if you just watch the game flow, he wasn't involved, and he got lucky right at the end, and you're like, I don't want to rely on that. So I can definitely understand if you want to drop him. All right, my man. Do you have anybody else?
Definitely. I think. Well, real quick on your point, I think that's totally fair on Hogan.
Yeah.
I guess I should have said staying pat because what you just described is kind of what I meant when I said panic. If I have Chris Hogan, I'm keeping him on my bench. He's kind of in my situation with Fitz. I actually like Hogan more than Fitz at this particular moment, but I would have them, on my bench and just kind of seeing what's going to happen. By all means, if I could get a good trade out of him, I would, but
Nearly
definitely
impossible,
not a drop.
probably.
Yeah. One guy that I am actually gonna stand pat on, is Tyler Lockett. I know with
Okay.
Doug Baldwin coming back, there's, it could be cause for, Tyler Lockett, he's going to lose everything he's been doing. Doug Baldwin already said, and we talked about this last time, but he's not going to be 100% the season. So I think him being out there he's still going to draw attention because he is Doug Baldwin. But I don't think Tyler Lockett's anybody that you have to, be like, I need to get rid of him or I have to drop him. I mean, last week, Doug Baldwin played. Tyler Lockett still had 6 targets, so he didn't disappear. Yeah. So, I'm staying pat on Tyler.
I mean, he had 10 fantasy points for playing in a full PPR. I would probably stand pat on him as well. Are you, if you had to choose one between the other for one game, I need one game out of you, and, Baldwin or Lockett, who would you be rolling out there?
I would have to take. I mean, I got to go with Baldwin. I personally would have to go with Baldwin just because he's the safer guy. But yeah, Baldwin would be my answer. He's the safer guy. But if I had Lockett on a team, I'm not getting rid of him because Baldwin is back.
Right. Okay. Good deal. Well, I got 2 more players I want to talk about here. And I think we've already touched on him a little bit already, but Leonard Fournette, he's just hurt. He's just, I don't want to say the man's made of glass. I don't want to say soft or anything like that. I've seen a lot of things out there. Hamstring can be a nagging injury, but you would think you drafted Leonard Fournette in the first round to be a staple of your offense. He's given you 12 combined points on the season. PPR, by the way. I don't know. You can't drop him, but even if he comes back, I don't know if he goes into my lineup. He's given you 3 quarters so far. I think you got to put him on the bench so you see him play a couple of games. Or do you start him? What do you think?
No, he's got to be firmly on the bench because it's not even just solely on Fournette. It's also, you got to look at the staff there in Jacksonville. They brought him back once, and it was obviously too early, so he wasn't healed all the way. So now they're going to sit him out again. Doug Marrone says he doesn't know how long he'll miss. Right. I saw a report today that says he'll miss at least the next 2 games. Does that mean he's going to be fully healthy when he comes back, or does that mean that he's just going to miss at least 2 games? Yeah, that.
Yes, out indefinitely. I mean, it hurts. That hurts on so many different levels. Because again, I have him everywhere. I don't know. I just don't know what to do with Fournette at this point in time. Perhaps it's time. I mean, you think about it right now. He's missed basically 4 games. That is, again, as I mentioned at the beginning of the show, a third of the regular season for fantasy. He's out another 2 games. You can sit here, and I've seen the question today, and as laughable as it seems, it could be legitimate. More games for Le'Veon Bell or Leonard Fournette this year?
Yeah, I did not see that question today, but that is definitely very
At first
real.
It's funny, right? Like, come on,
real.
yeah, Le'Veon's like, you're playing half. Look, wait a minute.
Yeah.
Fournette hasn't played the season yet.
Wow. Yeah, that's crazy. That's very real.
Yeah.
Very real.
Who would you bet on? I mean, I don't even know what the answer is to that. I would say, because of the argument I gave earlier about it making absolutely no sense for Le'Veon to play this year. If he decided to sit out at the beginning, you may as well sit out the whole year. That Fournette at some point, after maybe resting for a couple of weeks, will possibly come back. But I'm not in the NFL, obviously. What are they doing in practice? Why is it that someone can practice in full for the week, get in the game for 3 minutes, but the hamstring's not right? Why was it not right in practice? What are you guys doing in practice?
That's another thing that I was wondering as well. That's why I was bringing up the point about not being able to trust. You mean this is 2 reports in 2 weeks out of Jacksonville. The first time they're saying he's great all week and then he doesn't play on Sunday. This time he's good, he's going to play. Then the report comes out today that he's still feeling pulling. And what do you mean he's still feeling? Like you gave us the notion that it was fine. So that's just, I don't know what that whole situation is, and that's almost like trying to trust Pete Carroll when it comes to who's going to be the starting running back out of that backfield. It's just nothing. You can't really judge anything off of these reports.
No, that was a surprising move, and actually we're going to talk about that in a second. I think when we talk about waiver wire, but yeah, that Seahawks backfield is going to be one to definitely watch. All right, do you have anybody else?
Nope. It's on you.
All right, got one last guy, and we kind of hit on him again a little bit earlier in the segment, and he was actually one of my regrets, but I didn't put him down there because we're going to talk about him, Pat or Panic, and I'm completely panicked. 3 points 2 weeks in a row. I'm sorry, 3 points and then like 2.8 points for Kenyon Drake.
Oh, yeah.
Your guy, you got him on your bench. Gore had more points than him this week. He's actually the one that got the touchdown. And I've watched some of the game with the Patriots and the Dolphins, and it looks like a horrible mess. He's not getting the touches. They're not using him in the passing game. He's on the field a lot. He's there. He's like, hey, someone has to be in the running back spot during this play. We have to have someone there. Here you go, but you're not getting the ball.
Yeah. Oh man, that was another guy that was drafted high, and another one where we saw last year after they got rid of Jay and he came in, and we were like, wow, this guy should have been playing
from
the jump. Like this guy's amazing. And I don't know if the Dolphins or if Adam Gase is just like, I really love Tannehill, so regardless, we're gonna try to get Tannehill going.
I have a theory, and you just hit on it. There's only two things I can think of. Either Adam Gase, and forgive me for saying this, I'm not saying handicap, deaf, dumb, and blind, some combination of all three, doesn't know that the best person on your team right now is Drake. I don't see Kenny Stills. I like him as a wide receiver, but I don't see him as some kind of super athlete. Perhaps Devontae Parker is a bundle of potential, but again, whatever. We don't have a tight end to speak of. Tannehill's a middling quarterback. Your best player is Kenyon Drake, and we're not finding a way to get do you not know this? What's happening? Or number two, he hates fantasy. And he don't care. And he'd rather sacrifice games. He'd rather sacrifice his career just to spite. As a matter of fact, I'm going to give Gore more carries than I'm going to give Drake just to poke at the fantasy football players out there. And I'm going to make the middling quarterback Tannehill. Well, he's going to be middling regardless. He's not going to be that great even if he doesn't pass the ball all the time. But I don't know. I don't get it, man. And it's really killing people. I mean, you got him when you start. He can't start anymore. You got to put him on the bench until they give him at least, like they did week 2, give him 17, 18 carries, touches. Give him 15 carries, 3 or 4 catches a game. That'll make him fantasy viable RB2 conversation. But right now, he has to be on your bench. I'm completely panicked.
Definitely. And real quick to touch on what you were saying about Gates, he's been kind of trolling fantasy owners all off season. They were asking who was going to start. He said, who knows? He was saying 1A, 1B.
Right.
Like, so you might be on to something there.
Yeah.
And I just pulled up the stats. Frank Gore has more rushing attempts than Drake. Granted, it's only by 2, but it's 35 to 33, and he has about 20 more yards than Drake on the season. So it's almost like Drake is the backup. Like, you don't know.
Yeah, I can't call this. That's another backfield and a whole another mess. But I'm panicked. He has to be on your fantasy bench. Good deal. Let's go ahead and do a quick waiver wire, and then we'll sign out of here. I start the Pat or Panic segment. Who do you have?
Yeah, on the waiver wire, and I usually don't do this after one game. I don't like to just see a guy come in for one game and I'm like, oh, I got to rush to go get that guy because it's not always going to happen. But Aldrick Robinson is very interesting for the Vikings. And really, because I believe he only had 2 catches, and they were both touchdowns. I think he only had 2 targets. So it's not so much that he's doing it for him as much as Laquan Treadwell is pushing Aldrick to take the third position. Because
he's pulling Julio. I don't want touchdown. I don't want to be on the field. I don't want a position.
Yeah. Treadwell's like, you know what, man? I like playing for the Vikings. I look good in purple. I love the fans. But as far as getting on the field and running these routes,
not so much for me.
Yeah, I'm cool. You got it. Treadwell they continue to give Treadwell opportunities to continue to drop balls after balls after balls. And Robinson's coming in, and I hate to even admit this, as I come on here and try to give knowledge to you guys. I didn't even know Aldrick Robinson played for the Vikings. Yeah, I had no idea. So I see him doing this, and so that's a guy that I'm looking at that I like, and like I said, is not solely off of him. It's more of Treadwell trying to get him the position.
I probably at this point, I typically want to see 2 weeks. I wouldn't rush to get him. I mean, every now and again he had these outlier games for certain players.
Right.
And 2 targets just is not going to get it. But, of course, if he's catching touchdowns, we'll see. I'm not sure there's going to be much else room for any other receivers to have a full-time role. You got Thielen tearing it up. You have Diggs tearing it up. Rudolph is showing to be a top 5 tight end thus far this season. I mean, to the point where the passing game is so on point between those 3 players that it may look like the running game is suffering. You're not getting the production out of Cook. You're not getting the production out of his backup guy. I forgot his name off the top of my head here. Murray. You're not getting the production out of that because they're just doing so much in the passing game. It's tough. I want to see a week out of him, but he may be a guy to have again on the radar. My first guy, I do have about 3 here, and we're going to get out of here for the game. Games get ready. Come on. Truck stick. The up button on the controller, Vance McDonald. If he's on the waiver wire, he trucked the guy last week, and then this last game he ran over 3 people. Big truck. But no, he should be owned in all these. It looks like he has a definite role in the offense. It was a question with Jesse James having that big week, who was really going to be getting the snaps, and it looks like Vance McDonald jumped right back into whatever role they had for him, and he's showing why. Absolutely.
Yeah, definitely. It's not much to say there. That's absolutely. A guy that with the tight end situation being the way it is in fantasy right now, maybe a guy that you can kind of look at, Nick Vannett.
You got my guy. Here's my second guy.
Did I snipe you?
Yeah, you sniped me good. Go
ahead. With this injury to Will Dissly for the Seahawks, I think Vannett's uptick is going to be huge.
Absolutely.
Russell Wilson was loving Will Dissly, and I don't think it's necessarily, the person. I think the position in that system. So I think Vannett can jump right in and do well and provide, good numbers for fantasy owners as well.
Yeah. Vannett's backup. Russell Wilson doesn't even know this guy is on the team. Yeah, he doesn't know his name is Daniel. Daniels. Last name, Daryl Daniels. If you ask Russell Wilson who that is, he's like, who? Is that somebody in the President Trump case? Daniels? I heard something about Daniels.
Are you talking about the Seahawks? My team?
No, he's going to be in for a big workload. I had Vanette on my list as well. And yes, they do use that tight end position a lot in the Seahawks offense, and with the lack of pass catchers there, you can see he'll probably get 80 or 90% of snaps. Now, just like the running backs, we could be surprised. Who knew the last guy I was going to talk about here, Mike Davis, is going to come out and ball out. If I had a paycheck to bet and someone told me that Chris Carson was going down and who's going to get more carries, Rashad Penny or Mike Davis, I would have lost my check. I would have been kicked out of my house. I wouldn't have paid my car note. My wife would have divorced me because I would have bet everything on Rashad Penny.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Have you ever seen the movie White Man Can't Jump?
Yes. Definitely.
And you remember when he lost that money in that trying to dunk, he lost it to Wesley Snipes and had to go home, and the girl left. Yeah, that would have happened to me because I cannot believe they gave the ball to Mike Davis. That's crazy.
And over and over and over, and they just kept giving it to Mike. Like, where did he come from?
He's always been a good runner. He was in San Francisco for a little bit. He's always been a good runner, but that's kind of that journeyman kind of a guy, goes from team to team, plays pretty hard, but doesn't quite get the run. And I have no clue how that happened. I'm not sure if Rashard Penny is on the bad side of Pete Carroll or whatever, but that's crazy. That's probably one of the most surprising results outside of Mitch Trubisky for the weekend. So anyhow, Mike Davis, even though Carson's probably coming back, I don't know. If you have a bench spot, pick him up.
Pete came out today and said that Mike Davis showed that he deserves a role. Yeah. So even with Carson coming back, Mike is going to be in the rotation. So,
absolutely.
Yeah.
All right, we got time for one more. If you got one, we'll get ready to get out of here.
I actually did not prepare another one. Sorry, people.
Oh.
My apologies.
It's no problem. Well, we've been on the line here for a little bit. We want to say once again, everyone, thank you so much for tuning in. Please continue to come back, like, comment, answer the question of the week here for us, and please hit the subscribe button. Thought, as always, if you can dodge a wrench, you can dodge a ball. One last thing, visit us online. We will be on Facebook, the Average Joe's Fantasy Football Podcast. You can also check us out on Instagram, average_Joe's_fantasy_football. Please come check us out there. And once again, we'll see you guys next week. Dave, do you have anything else for the people?
Have a good week. Enjoy your football.
All right, we're out of here. Signing off.